Okay, good morning. It's a chilly morning in Houston. It's the second day of snow. We're not used to it. I think this is the coldest Houston has been. Uh, most of the stores are out or closed. The only store I had open yesterday was Home Depot, and there's no firewood, so we just got the cardboard boxes. I still have some over here. I don't know if you see that. I already took most out because we used it to burn, to heat up the place via the fireplace. It was kind of labor intensive because it's not wood, so it burns quick. So you have to keep filling it up. And so far, it has kept us warm. The roads are very icy. I almost slipped. Just trying to get this car started just to make sure it's starting, because you have to let the engine warm up before you use it, and I don't think I can use this because look, and we're out of water. I tried to ice scrape the other car, which I might just use. So right now we use the patio heater. We brought it inside the chimney. I'll show it to you later. My battery's bad, so I can't really use it as much, and there's no power, so I can charge it in the car. I should have left it in the car so it would have charged overnight, but that's okay. Maybe later, that's what I'll do. So right now, as I show you, I'm trying to take out the ashes from the fireplace last night, so it has a space later. And you see that patio heater, it's not really giving a lot of heat. It's more ambient, but better than none, I guess. It used to be our patio heater. I thought it was a patio heater because this is a small car, and I don't think the patio heater, because I had a patio heater, it's too tall. I don't think it's gonna fit here, so I got a tabletop, but it was just a fireside fire pit or something. It's just more decoration than heat, but it's more ambient lighting. So far, that's what we were using. I think we still have gas, but good thing we filled the tubs with water, so that's what we're using to flush the toilets, because they took out the water already. I just hope that my pipes aren't busted. That's gonna be a lot of problem. If in the case that it is busted and you're watching and you want to support me, click on Multopia, buy here. What is Multopia? It's an online store where you can buy stuff and pick it up, because I have all the stores close to you. They have branches where you're at, only in America. That's our first phase. Hopefully we can go to Canada and the other countries. So you can also have it delivered, but some people, love to shop online, but are hesitant about the delivery because, sometimes they just live in an apartment and then people steal stuff. They don't have that door, and the Amazon people don't have access to the gate, so they just leave it outside, so it gets stolen. So I think the next convenience way is to shop online, and then when you find it, have the option of picking it up. Hopefully it takes off. That's why I've been doing this actually, so to generate awareness of how it is, and at the same time show, because I'm Filipino, show our culture. I love our culture. It's an interesting culture. It's actually a, what you call it, a fusion of all the races, really, because well, not America, but because we are really tribal people. We're Malay. You can see from our skin that we're Pacific Islanders. But 400 years ago, the guy that discovered Spain, he's from Spain. He traveled the whole world. He's the first guy to circumnavigate the world. He didn't end up circumnavigating. I think pawn, I forgot his name, his slave was able to go back to Spain, but his ship was able to circumnavigate the world, which proves that the world was round. So it was very uh, groundbreaking at that time. I know, I'm talking about Magellan, right? So he's the guy who was able to circumnavigate the world. And imagine, when he came to the Philippines, he died. Filipinos killed him. We weren't called Filipinos back then. We were probably Maharlika. We were a group of unincorporated islands. It's mostly Muslim. It's probably coming from the Muslim Empire. Back in those days, I think Muslim Empire. Yeah, I think Muslim from the Persian Empire and Muslim Empire, and then it became the Ottoman Empire. But of course, prior to those empires, you have first the Egyptian and etc., and the Romans. Maybe next day I'll explain to you that history. I'm not really well versed, but I just have an idea. So anyway, so we were kind of Muslims. So it's a mixture of Pacific Islanders and Muslims. So of course, Spain, they're like, America back then, we're the toughest. How can this be? Like, some people with knives or swords are able to beat us? That's scary, right? So what they did is they sent friars. So you're wondering how we were able to beat Magellan. Well, it was strategic. It was our land, right? So we used the horns, from the shells. So there were like strategic. The chieftain there was Lapu-Lapu. So we were ruled by Datu, Datu. It's like the king. So it's like, I guess in the north you have, the Vikings, and we have those two. So it's like Datu, so they're kind of Muslim in comparison. And they use two swords to fight. So Spaniards only have one sword and a shield, right? Or a spear and a shield. That's how they fought, even Roman times. I think even now nobody really saw how people fight with two swords. Maybe some Japanese know how, but we've perfected it. So if you fight with two swords, you cannot beat us. So Magellan died, and it was also strategic with the informational systems that they were using horns where those ships are coming. And so what they did is they sent the friars. There's a book of our national hero. He's called Jose Rizal. Read his book. There's a guy there named Padre Damaso. Check him out. So they sent Padre Damaso. They noticed that those people in the Philippines, I guess it's called Maharlika back then. They were worshiping this child god. It's like a dark budul or something. It's called Batang Allah, because we're Muslim, right? So of course it kind of gets modified because of the culture. You know how it is, like how religion is here is modified. So it's the same back then. Batang Allah. So what the friars did, they sent galleons, but instead of warriors, they sent Batang Allah, like a Santo Niño, a child saint. So when they landed in, I think, somewhere in Cebu or something, so instead of the Filipino warriors or the Maharlikan warriors fighting them, they dropped their swords and said, we have to worship this god, right? So we started worshiping, and then they changed our names. That's why you notice that you see a Filipino when he looks Asian and Hispanic or something. He looks more Asian and Pacific Islander, and he has a Hispanic last name. That's a Filipino. Because they changed our names. So sort of Christianized us. It was good. I mean, but actually it was just a pawn to use as a slave. So we were under them for 300 years. I can say we were slaves because we were kept poor. We were kept Indio. All the Castilas were rich. They owned the land. Until today, it's a big. We're still poor. We're still poor. There are two reasons why. First, the Spanish conquerors, they didn't even educate us because we don't know how to speak Spanish, just a little bit, because education is keys to success, so they have to keep us poor. Don't worry if you're poor, but you go to heaven anyway, you believe in God, etc. There's nothing wrong with that, but keeping people poor because of that is not good. So, and then also after we were liberated by America, we were Commonwealth back then, but during that war, Japanese war, our city was destroyed, and I don't think we were given enough war reparations to rebuild the city, or if we were given, maybe it was corrupted, because Japan, they flourished, although probably it's cultural too. We really need patriotic people that like in Japan, where I think the emperor gave these war reparations to like 5 families, like Mitsubishi, Toyota, Nissan, Sony, those guys, Yamaha, to build the country for export, and it worked, right? You still see those goods right now. I don't know if we had some reparations from the Philippines, but if we do, and if the family who were given that money, they didn't do it to rebuild the country. They just kept it for themselves. It's sad. What can we do to rebuild our country? We have to start loving ourselves, loving our culture. That's probably why I'm doing this. I'm trying to penetrate the American market to show how beautiful culture is. If you met a Filipino, you will know. But some who don't, here's our culture. We're very respectful. We love family. Okay, so go back to the Day of Ice. So maybe later I'll show you how it looks, but right now I'm just gonna tell you the story. The roads have kind of thawed, so it's very slippery. I'm going to restock on items and see if I can buy some other stuff, whatever's open, and catch you later. Thank you. See, this doesn't work with gloves, so if you take out the gloves and